Abdulrashid Sadulaev is the man who seems to claim the title of the most titled freestyle wrestler in history. In fact, after the recent 2021 World Freestyle Wrestling Championships in Norway, he is one step closer to that title. The World Championship turned out for Sadulaev that it is impossible to think better. Without any difficulties, he defeated all his rivals in the tournament grid and confidently made it to the final, in which no one but the American Kyle Snyder was waiting for him. Their final confrontation was the most exciting and awaited fight of the tournament. After all, the fans saw a new series of confrontations between Abdulrashid Tank Sadulaev and an American Kyle Snyder, nicknamed Snyderman. Two great fighters met again in the final of the World Championships and decided between them not only the fate of the individual gold, but also to determine the winner of the team ranking. Sadulaev versus Snyder was a super confrontation. No other poster in modern wrestling has such a vivid backstory and such an intense subtext. Russian versus American, Olympic champion versus Olympic champion. This final confrontation with Snyder was the fourth for Sadulaev. They fought 3 times before, and the general score of their meetings was 2-1 in Abdulrashid's favor, apart from the final bout at the Olympics in Tokyo, which I wrote about earlier on my channel and leave the link in the description. There were also fights at the World Championships 2017 in Paris and World Championships 2018 in Budapest, and they met everywhere exclusively in the finals. In France, Sadulaev, who moved to the category up to 97 kilograms, unexpectedly lost 5-6, but in Budapest he had already won cleanly. The legendary wrestlers were divided into different parts of the net, but if the Russian made it to the final without too many problems, the American made his fans nervous, avoiding the defeat in the semi-final only for seconds before the whistle. But, in the end, the cult confrontation continued. Their fight at this World Championship reminded something of the final of the Olympic Games in Tokyo, in which Sadulaev was leading confidently with the score 6-0, but he let his rival score 3 points in the active ending. The final of the World Championship in Oslo had one important difference. The Russian wrestler did not let his opponent do anything. Nothing at all. In the first period, Snyder couldn't even get close to Sadulaev, so he was awarded a penalty point for passivity, and the opponents went to the break with the score 1-0 in favor of the Russian wrestler. At the beginning of the second period, Sadulaev led to 0 for the same reason. Then Abdulrashid outsmarted the powerful American and managed to be behind him, pressed him to the mat and earned 2 more points. But the champion didn't stop there and made a roll. As a result, the score was 6-0. In the final of the Olympics, Snyder was leading by the same margin, but then Snyder still managed to pull out 3 points. This time we did not see the final explosion from Kyle. Sadulaev defended himself so that he did not leave his opponent a chance. He won the fight by a landslide. And by the way, Kyle Snyder is much bigger than Abdulrashid Sadulaev. To keep up 97 kilograms, he puts on weight, while Sadulaev comes to the mat with 3-4 kilograms underweight. But Abdulrashid's technical preparation is so strong that even such a monster as Snyder cannot oppose him at all, and there is a feeling that Sadulaev has not yet reached his peak. And he seems to be aiming to become the most titled wrestler in history. Freestyle wrestler Alexander Madvid, who also wrestled for a long time at up to 97 kilograms, has 7 world championships under his belt. Carolyn the Classic has 9, and thus both these legendary wrestlers have 3 Olympic golds. Abdulrashid has 2 so far, but he is only 27 years old, and he still has a long way to go.